and then I got hit in the leg and it was serious enough that it got me shipped back home. I think I probably got parts because I was tall. James Arness seemed like the perfect American hero on Gunsmoke for 20 years. But behind the badge was a man drowning in secrets. In 1975, he tried to end his life with the same type of gun that made him famous. His daughter had just died by suicide. His ex-wife would follow 2 years later. And that wasn't even his darkest moment. A hidden oil fortune, World War II injury that nearly killed him, and a feud with his co-star that almost destroyed the show. Today we're uncovering the truth about the man who fooled America. James Arness was born on May 26, 1923 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. His father, Ralph Circler Arness, was a businessman and his mother, Ruth Duller, worked as a journalist. Their family came from Norwegian and German roots. The Arness home was filled with the sounds of Norwegian spoken by the elders, and the smell of traditional foods often filled the air. The Great Depression hit them hard. Ralph's business struggled, so Ruth's income from journalism helped keep them afloat. James grew up with a strong sense of duty and toughness. These early experiences and his heritage shaped him into the man who would one day play Marshal Matt Dillon for 20 years on Gunsmoke. James's grandfather, Peter Arness, came to America from Norway in 1887. Like many immigrants, he changed the family name from Arness to Arness to fit in better. That small change started a pattern of reinvention that would echo through the family. Years later, James' younger brother Peter would go even further. When he entered show business, he chose the name Peter Graves, trying to step out from under the family shadow and make a name of his own. Both brothers found success, but in very different ways. As a boy, James never dreamed of becoming an actor. He didn't like being on stage and only acted in school plays when teachers pushed him to. What he really wanted was to go to sea. He imagined himself as a sailor, chasing adventure like the Norwegian explorers he admired. That dream ended when the Navy rejected him for being too tall. At 6 feet 7 inches in, James didn't fit into the cramped quarters of ships or submarines. Instead, in March 1943, he was drafted into the Army and sent to Fort Snelling. His height, which had once been the source of endless teasing, classmates often asked him, "How's the weather up there?" now became something the Army saw as useful. James' war experience was brutal. On January 22, 1944, during the Anzio landing in Italy, his height put him at the front of danger. He was ordered to be the first man off the landing craft so he could wade into the water and check how deep it was. The Army figured if the water only reached his waist, the shorter men behind him would be safe. That day, 36,000 men landed, and the fighting was fierce. Just 10 days later, James' luck ran out. During a night patrol in a vineyard, German machine gun fire tore through his right leg. Somehow he managed to leap over a row of vines even as a grenade exploded nearby and threw him to the ground. He lay there for hours before help arrived. The injuries shattered his leg, leaving him with a limp and chronic pain for the rest of his life. Despite the pain, James didn't talk much about his wounds. He was awarded the Bronze Star for heroism, the Purple Heart for his injuries, and several other medals, including the American Campaign Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Combat Infantryman Badge. Yet he carried the weight of those honors quietly. The Army didn't even give him some of his medals. Until 2000, he lived with the pain even when it made working hard. But on screen he never let it show. He became the image of the tough Western hero, even as every step reminded him of the cost of that image. In 1945, James Arness came home from World War II with his life hanging by a thread. He had served as a rifleman in the U.S. Army and was badly wounded at Anzio, Italy. Doctors rushed him to a hospital in Clinton, Iowa. For months he endured agonizing treatment. Each day was a battle. During this time his younger brother Peter Graves paid him a visit. Peter would later become famous in his own right. But that day he simply wanted to help his brother find a new purpose. He suggested something James had never considered. He told him to try radio training at the University of Minnesota. Peter believed James' deep voice would be perfect for radio work. First, James didn't think much of it. His only goal was to recover and live a normal life again. But the idea stayed in his mind. Soon he enrolled in the university's respected radio program. That step, born from tragedy, would set him on the path to becoming a television legend. After finishing his radio training, James found work as a radio announcer in Minneapolis. His voice was rich and steady. People recognized it on the air. But in 1946, fate knocked again. A childhood friend invited him to Hollywood. The friend promised he could make extra money working as a film extra. James had no dreams of becoming an actor. He thought of himself as a radio man. But the chance for a fresh adventure was too tempting to resist. He left for California with a suitcase and curiosity. In Hollywood he worked as an extra for $25 a day. He blended into crowd scenes. He stood in the background. The work was hard and the future was unclear. Still he started to learn how the movie world worked. What began as a way to earn a living turned into the first step toward a lasting career on screen. Wanting to improve his skills, James enrolled at the Bliss Hayden Theater School in Beverly Hills. Harry Hayden, a respected actor and teacher, became his mentor. James worked hard, but he still didn't see himself as a future star. One night while performing in a student play, something unexpected happened. In the audience sat talent agent Leon Lance. He noticed James right away. At 6 feet 7 inches in, James stood out. But it wasn't just his height. His